I should have cuffed him. Should have called Nadia. Should have dragged him back to the surface and made him answer for what he'd done. But I didn't. Instead, I sat with him in the heart of the underground, two old men, shaped by different wars, different codes. You ever feel, he said quietly, like the city forgot you? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Leonid poured tea. Strong, bitter. Familiar. When I started collecting garbage, he continued, I thought I was cleaning the streets. But after a while I realized I was cataloging the soul of a city. Its secrets. Its waste. Its blind spots. He reached into his coat and handed me something, a flash drive. Every document. Every blueprint. Every name. If they ever come for us, tell the story. All of it. And then, just like that, he stood. Walked to the far tunnel. Didn't look back. He stepped into the darkness. And was gone. I waited there until morning. The next day, authorities raided the site. But the city below? Empty. No people. No signs of struggle. No money. Just silence. Like it had never existed. Leonid Borshch had pulled off the perfect crime. Not just stealing $10 million. He stole freedom. He stole himself from the world. And he did it without leaving a single trace. Except one. Me. He looked like a king in exile. Leonid stood at the entrance, framed by the glow of flickering lights and the quiet hum of underground life. Behind him stretched a labyrinth of makeshift homes, workshops, and tunnels. Generators buzzed softly. People moved with purpose. Focused. Calm. Welcome, detective, he said. Or should I say, witness? I didn't speak. I just stared. Stunned. Children laughed in the distance. Elderly men tinkered with wires. A woman hauled crates of preserved food. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't criminal. It was functional. You built all this? I asked. No, he said, stepping aside so I could see more. We built it. Together. While the world above lost itself to greed and noise, we made something quiet. Something clean. Using stolen money. Borrowed, he corrected. From a system that throws people away like yesterday's trash. You think I stole 10 million? No. I reclaimed it. I looked around. No gold. No luxuries. Just life, stripped down to its essentials. He guided me through the tunnels. I saw aquaponics. Filtration systems. Libraries of salvaged books. Even a medical station. It wasn't a gang. It was a civilization. Hidden in plain sight. You can arrest me, he said finally. Or you can understand. I don't know what I'm looking at, I admitted. Yes, you do, Leonid replied. You spent your life chasing shadows. I spent mine becoming one. But this? This is my last case, detective. I turned to him. What do you mean? He smiled, sad and proud. Tomorrow, I disappear for good. I couldn't sleep. Not after what I saw on that wall. Leonid wasn't just orchestrating a heist, he was founding something. Every document, every note, pointed to a single obsession: freedom from the system. From surveillance. From corruption. From everything above ground. He was building a society beneath the city. A shadow republic. And he had followers. Former workers. Men and women who vanished from the surface world but weren't really gone, just relocated. Engineers. Plumbers. Forgotten minds with nowhere else to go. He'd recruited them over decades, while pretending to collect trash. The 10 million? That was only the beginning. I returned to the tunnel hub 2 nights later, alone this time. Nadia said we needed a warrant. I didn't have time for that. The more I dug, the more I realized. Leonid had a launch date. Red circles on the wall marked a week from now. Something big was coming. I found a metal hatch in the corner of the room. Locked tight with a fingerprint scanner. Military grade. But someone had left a message scratched into the wall nearby. Kostya Litvin, knocked twice. Then once. I stared at it, heart pounding. It knew me. He knew me. I knocked. Twice. Then once. The door clicked. And slowly opened. What I saw on the other side changed everything. It wasn't just a room. It was an entire underground city. Lit. Organized. Alive. And Leonid was standing right there. Waiting for me. I brought the Polaroids to Nadia. She turned pale when she saw them. He's watching you now, she said. I nodded. He's been watching all of us. For years. We pulled city maintenance records, every floor plan, every service tunnel, every sewer map. Most hadn't been updated since the 80s. Leonid had known that. It was his chessboard. At the center of it all, I found something that sent chills down my spine, a sealed substation beneath Podol district. It had once powered a Cold War-era communications hub. Decommissioned. Forgotten. But still connected to a network of utility tunnels. It was directly beneath the route of the money transport van. A perfect interception point. Nadia and I suited up, grabbed respirators, flashlights, and descended through a maintenance hatch 4 blocks from Leonid's apartment. The tunnel was silent. Too silent. After 30 minutes of crawling, we reached it, a rusted steel door, half covered in mildew. Behind it, a massive room, dark, damp, but functional. Generators. Tools. Empty crates. And a wall. Covered in blueprints. Newspaper clippings. Obituaries. Maps of the city. Dates. Times. Circled in red ink. I stepped closer. There, in the center, was a phrase scrawled in Ukrainian. To disappear, one must first learn where the world stops looking. It wasn't a hideout. It was a command center. And the 10 million? Gone. Already distributed. Piece by piece. Leonid wasn't hiding it. He was spending it. But not for luxury. For infrastructure. He was building something. Underground. I couldn't prove it yet, not in court, not even on paper, but I knew Leonid had built something. A network beneath the city, invisible to the system. And the worst part? He hadn't stolen the 10 million to spend it. He had stolen it for something bigger. But what? That night, I walked his old route again. Just me, the cold, and the endless hum of streetlights. I studied every dumpster. Every alley. Every crack in the pavement. I wanted to see what he saw, the city's weaknesses. That's when I noticed it, a single trash bin tagged with a faint red mark beneath the rim. Barely visible. I lifted the lid. Nothing but garbage. I dug deeper. Coffee cups. Rotten fruit. And then, plastic. A sealed food container. Inside, a stack of Polaroids. Images of men. All older. All dressed like workers. Some in sewers. Some on rooftops. All with dates scrawled on the back. And one word repeated. Final shift. One photo made my blood freeze. It was me. Taken from across the street. Blurry, but unmistakable. I was leaving my apartment. The back said, soon. This wasn't just about a heist anymore. It was personal. Leonid wasn't done. He had a plan. And somehow, I had just become part of it. I paid Leonid another visit. This time, I didn't knock. He was at his kitchen table, peeling an apple with a blade so thin it could slice time itself. He looked up at me, calm, unsurprised. Find anything interesting underground? He asked. That confirmed it. He knew I'd found the tunnel. He wanted me to. Like a magician tipping his hat after the trick. You dug it alone? I asked. Wouldn't you like to know? He murmured, cutting the apple into perfect segments. $10 million vanished, I said. No trace. You're the only lead. No accomplices, no van, no cash in circulation. You're sitting on the biggest unsolved theft in Ukrainian history. He smiled faintly. Funny thing about garbage, detective, he said. People never look too close. They think it's beneath them. But trash sees everything. Hears everything. People talk when they think no one's listening. He stood, joints cracking like old floorboards. You want to know what happened to the money? Of course. He leaned close. So do I. For a second, I actually believed him. Then I saw it, the smallest twitch in his eye. The old lion still knew how to lie. Before I could respond, he handed me something wrapped in newspaper. An envelope. Thick. Heavy. I opened it after leaving the building. Inside, $20,000 in clean bills. No note. No message. Just silence. It wasn't a bribe. It was an invitation. The game had begun. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. My mind kept circling that tunnel like a hawk. Who digs something like that beneath a city block, unnoticed, unreported, and precise? By morning, I was back at the site with gloves and a flashlight. Nadia refused to crawl in. I didn't blame her. I've been in worse places. War zones. Crime scenes. Divorces. The tunnel was about 40 feet long, damp, and strangely stable. No signs of fresh dirt piles in the area, meaning the earth was likely removed slowly, discreetly, over months. Maybe years. A plan that patient, that meant obsession. At the end of the tunnel was a wooden hatch. I pushed it open and found myself in the basement of an abandoned dry cleaner. Covered in dust. Completely empty, except for one thing, a laminated map taped to the wall. It was a city sanitation route map. Highlighted in red was one line, Leonid's old garbage route. Every turn. Every blind spot. Every dumpster and drain cover. Meticulous. Obsessive. Genius. That's when I understood. He didn't just clean the city. He studied it. Memorized it. Mastered it. Leonid had spent 40 years not just hauling trash, but learning where the city looked away. Where its eyes, its cameras, patrols, and routines blinked. He didn't find a hole in the system. He was the hole. I climbed out of the tunnel, adrenaline hammering through my veins. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just a theft. It was an orchestra. And Leonid Borshch was the conductor. I brought the walkie-talkie to the lab. It was old, civilian-grade, nothing traceable, no serial number, no fingerprints. But someone had modified it. Frequency locked. Short range. Probably used once, maybe twice. A tool for a single, silent conversation. I kept hearing Nadia's voice in my head. No witnesses. No trace. Just him. Leonid had the perfect weapon, routine. Everyone ignored the trash man. Every morning, same path. Same uniform. Same bin. But what if that bin wasn't always full of garbage? What if it was a vault on wheels? I requested old footage. Weeks' worth of traffic cams. And after hours of poring over grainy footage, I noticed it. One morning, Leonid pushed a different trash bin. Slightly wider. Slightly taller. It only showed up once. The day before the heist. No one noticed. No one cared. But I cared. I returned to the street, this time with Nadia. We walked the whole route. She thought I was grasping at shadows. I've seen real criminals, she said. This guy? He's just old. Probably confused. No, I replied. He's not confused. He's invisible. That's more dangerous. Then we reached the alley behind the blind spot. Cracked pavement. Rusted fire escape. And one lone storm drain. It was sealed, not by the city, but recently, and sloppily. I pried it open. Inside was a narrow tunnel. Dug by hand. Reinforced with wood. A tight crawl space, but just wide enough to drag something through. Like $10 million. The first thing I did was visit Leonid's apartment. Or rather, cell. 4th floor, no elevator, and the hallway reeked of boiled cabbage and forgotten lives. He greeted me with a shrug, like he'd been expecting someone to knock one day, maybe just not me. "Detective," he said with a nod that felt formal, like he knew the game. I looked around. Sparse. Clean. Too clean. A man who lived alone for decades and collected garbage shouldn't have a home this sterile. Not a single misplaced sock. Not a crumb. He offered tea. I declined. "We found footage of you near the scene," I said. "I clean that street every morning." "Force of habit," he replied. "It was your day off." He didn't blink. "Every day is a day off now. I still walk. Keeps the joints from dying." I studied his face. There wasn't fear. There wasn't arrogance. There was calculation. "What do you know about the missing money transport?" "Only what I saw on the news." A pause. Terrible. But here's what got me. He hadn't asked why I was there. He knew. He knew. And he wasn't shaken, he was rehearsed. Back on the street, I walked the route Leonid used to clean. I found the blind spot, the stretch of road without any security cameras. That's where the van disappeared. And right on that corner was a city-issued trash bin. Bolted to the sidewalk. Supposedly. I pulled it gently. It wobbled. It wasn't bolted down. It wasn't empty either. Inside the hollow base, I found a used walkie-talkie. Leonid didn't just walk that route. He owned it. His name was Leonid Borshch, 72 years old, with a spine curved like a question mark and a face carved by decades of labor. He lived alone in a one-room flat in an industrial part of Kyiv, surrounded by concrete and silence. Officially, he had retired 2 years ago after 4 decades of cleaning the same 6 blocks of the city. The same route. The same trash. Day after day. Nothing in his record suggested brilliance. No debts. No criminal ties. No family. He was invisible, and that, in itself, was suspicious. I met with the investigator in charge, a young officer named Nadia Halab. She showed me the case file. A federal money transport van disappeared on a Friday morning. No hijacking. No struggle. GPS signal vanished mid-route, right at a blind spot near a warehouse, long since abandoned. "No one saw a thing," Nadia said, flipping through her tablet. "No witnesses. No security footage. Just gone." We ran facial recognition from nearby cameras hours before and after the disappearance. Only one anomaly, Leonid. He was pushing a trash bin near the site. That's it. No van. No accomplices. Just him. I looked at the image. The old man barely registered as a person. You'd miss him if you blinked. But my instincts tingled. I'd seen faces like his before, people who've spent a lifetime learning how not to be seen. This wasn't a coincidence. This was camouflage. And I was staring at a ghost with a broom. I had no intention of waking up early that morning. Rain hammered against the windows, and my old coffee machine hissed like a wounded animal, spitting out a brew as bitter as the memories I couldn't forget. I'm a retired detective, though that word never sat right with me. Retirement implies peace, comfort. I had neither. All I had were unanswered questions and ghosts that wouldn't let go. That's when the phone rang. The old rotary kind. I kept it for sentiment, maybe denial. A relic of a time when the streets had rules, and criminals had faces. Is this Kostya Litvin? The voice on the other end asked. It is, I replied, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. We've got a case, strange one. $10 million gone. No witnesses. No security footage. No trace. And the only suspect? A retired garbage man. I should have said no. But I was already reaching for my coat.